Hello all, it's time to assume things about your OCs. I did this about 10 months ago, and I basically just went on my Discord server and was like, hey guys, I want to do another video assuming things about your OCs. Drop them down below in the announcement replies, and I'll take a look at them, save a bunch of them, and just do a video showcasing your OCs and also just assuming things about them based purely on the looks of the character. And so yeah, that's what we're going to be doing here today. So yeah, I have 15 here for you, and everyone in their like OC, like the owner of the OC, will be credited right next to the picture that I'm showing up on screen. So yeah, let's start with this one right here, Jasper Ravenswood. This one, you're definitely like part of like a boy band. You're like you're trying to like join this boy band and like be all up in this boy band and stuff like that so you can get with the lead singer, but it's not really working out because it turns out that he's not gay, but you still really like him, and so you really want to be part of this band just so that you can maybe make him turn gay or something. Maybe that's what you're trying to do. Maybe you're trying to turn him gay or something, and then that's not working, and so you're just super pissed all the time, and so you're known as like the bad boy of the boy band because you just seem pissed all the time, and they're not really sure why. They're not really sure if you're playing a bit or what, but in reality it's because you're in love with the lead singer and you're trying to get with him, but unfortunately it's not going to work out. This one right here, this is actually the only human OC we got on here. It kind of looks a little bit like the squareness of the head reminds me of Minecraft a little bit, so you're probably like just waiting for the apocalypse to happen, right? You go to school every day, pretending like it's an apocalypse type scenario. You got your backpack in there with like some rations and MREs, which you carry to lunch every single day, and you're just waiting for the apocalypse to happen. And you know it's going to happen when you're at school, so you carry your gas mask and everything else, and you're just ready. You're ready for anything. So yeah, that's you. That's 100% you. You tend to get into sweets a lot. So everyone tries to hide those sweets from you. You get in your little grubby little hands, and you're trying to reach for these things, but they were clever enough to make it to where you can't grab them with your hands. So what did you do? You stuck your head face first into this pool of snacks and just went to town on them. And so you just ate all of them, and then boom, you were caught in the act of doing it, and now you're trying to give them the puppy dog eyes. You're trying to sweeten them up with your face, but it's not really working because you got like sugar and like sauce and all this other sweets and stuff like that all over your face, and you just, no matter how like innocent you're trying to look, you're not going to pass through. They're gonna ground you for about 3 months and a half. Sans is definitely like your favorite character, and you absolutely love Undertale with a huge passion, with such a passion that anyone who mentions Undertale in even the slightest negative way, you set them on fire immediately. You're like, oh, what? You don't like Undertale? What was that? And then you just light them on fire. You have a flamethrower on hand permanently all the time. You're carrying one of these around with you. Some of them are a little bit smaller, some of them are a little bit bigger, but you're always carrying a flamethrower with you. And if anyone even slightly says anything slightly negative about Sans or Undertale, boom, full fire, full force, right in their face, and you're burning them alive. And you don't care at all, because what's going to happen is their skin and stuff like that is going to melt off their face, and they're going to be a skeleton, and you're going to love that because you're an Undertale fan and you love Sans. And then with the skeleton corpse, you're going to put, okay, this is getting very descriptive, but with the skeleton corpse, you're gonna put on a copy of Sans jacket over it, and then you're gonna go like super full insane and go on a date with it, and you like Undertale too much. You were just a simple orca, maybe a dolphin, swimming around in the ocean, and then bam, what's that? Is that a bit of raspberry? Maybe a bit of cherry? I'm not really sure, but you're very curious of that red thing that just entered the ocean, and so you go up and you bite into it, and boom, there you are. You suddenly gain consciousness, and you're like, oh my god, what am I? You start swimming, you're freaking out because you think you're drowning, but you're not actually drowning. You get to shore, and then suddenly you have legs, and your tail has fur on the end of it, and everything else, and you just become this like pony and everything like that, and you're freaking out and you're not sure what's going on, and then you just suddenly lose all memories of your orca or dolphin past, and boom, there you are, and you're like, oh man, what's going on, guys? I'm a pony. Hello, how's it going? I'm a pony. I'm a fellow pony, and you just don't know what to do about it. So that's just Yes, you are. You're also very prone to like cleaning stuff for some reason. I'm not really sure why you got that whole cleaning vibe going on right now, but you just love cleaning stuff. You just clean, 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 clean all the time. You were originally a maid for a very, very, very powerful queen, and you did everything for this queen. You even bathed them. You went that far with your job. And then one day, it turns out the queen, this almighty powerful queen, was actually supposed to be the maid this entire time. And it was some hilariously insane mix-up where the queen, who was originally a maid, your position, somehow tricked you into believing that you were the maid and that they were the queen, and so they took over, and now you're on this huge epic quest to fight the queen and reveal the truth that you are the rightful queen of this very powerful nation. You embody all that is retro, all that is arcade, and just I'm loving it. I'm loving that vibe. You just almost like you play games so much purely specifically like arcade machines and stuff like that you're starting to go a little bit broke, but you're in denial about it, and well, you kind of perform a little bit outside the arcade so that they give you coins and stuff, but instead of saving those coins or anything like that, you go straight into the arcade and start playing Pac-Man and all these other awesome ones like Galaga and stuff like that. You just love arcade machines so much that it's a little bit of an addictive problem, and yeah, that's you. That is definitely you. They just wanted to make a stained glass pony. They just wanted to make some stained glass art of a pony. That's all they wanted to do. And then, through some hilarious circumstance, they accidentally created an actual artificial life form, which is you. You are that artificial life form. You are made of glass and pony bits and a little bit of magic and stuff. And, well, you kind of have to live with that for your whole life. You have to live with, what am I? How am I this thing? How did I come into existence? And you can't really do much about it other than just continuously ask this question, because not even the people that created you really have a straight answer. And so, because of that, you've always had parental issues because you don't necessarily have a parent, but the people that made you kind of raised you a little bit, but you also didn't really like that because, like, you weren't them. You weren't a pony. You were this weird stained glass abomination that they somehow brought into this world, and because they couldn't explain it either, that also contributed to your parental issues and stuff like that. So currently you have more mommy issues than daddy issues, but you're working on it, and mostly you're trying to figure out how the hell you came into existence. Your mother gave you that sweater. Your mother gave you that sweater when she sent you off into space looking for a new home to inhabit. So, of course, that new home ended up being Ponytown. And what is your mission here in Ponytown? Well, to reproduce your species. But you can reproduce asexually, so they only needed to send one of you here, and so eventually there will be so many of you that you will outnumber the pony population and you will take over, and coincidentally, they're actually doing this to multiple planets across the solar system. It's very interesting, and I can't wait to see everyone just be completely taken over by these asexual beings. You're very, very, very picky. You get like a bed and it's a little bit too hard. You get another one and it's a little bit too soft. And then you get a third one and it's like, oh, this one is just right. You eat some like porridge or something, for just some random wild example, and it's a little bit too hot, so you put it in the microwave and oh man, now it's a little bit too hot. And then, so of course, you try and make another one and finally it's just right. It's just the right amount of mix of hot and cold and it's perfect. And then you're like, oh, let me sit down and read this interesting book here. And so you sit down and you're like, oh man, this chair is a little rickety, a little hard, a little solid. I don't like this. You get to the next one and it's like, oh man, this is way too soft. I'm like sinking in the ground basically. I don't like this. So then you go to the shop, you get a new chair, you put it back down in your living room, and bam, it's the perfect amount of soft and hard, and it's perfect, and you can sit down and read your book. But then you're reading your book and you're like, man, this book isn't very good. So you toss it to the side, you grab a new one off your bookshelf, and you're like, this one's a little bit too good. I might end up sitting here reading the entire thing. So let's put that one to the side. Maybe we'll read that another night. And so you grab a third one, and you're like, yeah, this is just the right amount of interesting and non-interesting, so that I'm not going to be sitting here all night reading this book. So here we go. There we go. We'll read a chapter or two and be done with it. You really shouldn't have went into that factory because, as it turns out, this factory actually releases a lot of toxic chemicals out the back, and well, you got a little bit too curious and stepped outside the wrong door, and whoops, you stepped right into that toxic waste, and it is slowly growing across your legs and your body, and eventually it will kill you. But in the meantime, you're taking advantage of this toxic waste and what it's done to you, because it's given you this unique ability to actually do some very special things. And so you have a whole secret persona, and you're fighting crime and all this other stuff. But sometimes when you're fighting crime, it's almost like you hear a voice in your head that's like, hey, what if we did this instead? And so sometimes you listen to the voice, and maybe you steal a thing or two, maybe you hurt a person or two, and you're really conflicted on this because you're dying anyway, so it doesn't matter. But at the same time, you know, it kind of does matter. And really, that's just the kind of internal struggle that you're facing. So you really, at the end of the day, shouldn't have gone into that factory, and definitely should have read the sign before going out that door. When you die, there is a chance you'll see this face right here, and they will tell you, all aboard. They will call out all aboard. You will looking around, and there will be no one. There will be a train behind this person, and you're like, well, I don't know what to do. I was just vibing at home a minute ago. I guess I'll get on this train. So you get on the train, and he takes you into the afterlife. And that's it. He says goodbye, and this is the final stop, and then that's it. You get off the train, and you're in the afterlife. And depending on what you did in life, I guess maybe sometimes you'll be in one place, and sometimes you'll be in another, and sometimes you'll be in that other place, but we don't like to talk about that one. You were kicked out of your house at exactly 18. At exactly 18, they handed you this paper, and you're like, what's this? It's your birthday present. You read it, and basically it was an eviction notice, and basically stated that you had X amount of time to pay X amount of money, or you're getting kicked out. Of course, you didn't have any money because you just turned 18. Maybe you had like one job or something, but this is still way too much. And so they kick you out, and you're just on the streets for a little while, and you're not really sure what to do for money, and then before you know it, you end up as a stripper. So basically, you're the first one to start pride events in every town. No town ever had pride events. They never had pride parades or any of that other stuff until you came around. You came around and was like, hey, what if we did a pride parade or a pride march or something like that, right? And you were able to convince enough gays and enough LGBTQ members and stuff like that to get together and actually do this pride march, this pride parade, if you will. And so it didn't necessarily catch on immediately, but you went to another town and did the same thing. And then you went to another town and did the same thing, and eventually, because you kept going from town to town starting this movement, you eventually were able to create pride parades all across the country, and ultimately it caught on, and now they happen basically every year, and there's an entire month for it. So good job. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so this is our last one here. This is actually artwork rather than the Ponytown character or whatever else like that. So very, very wonderful artwork here, by the way. Amazing. But yeah, okay, so on to assuming things about this character. You're absolutely lost. You have no idea where the fuck you are. You've been lost for the past 3 days, but you won't admit it to yourself. You know, it's kind of like an internal struggle similar to the other one earlier, but you keep hearing this voice that's like, yeah, man, we're lost, man. You gotta admit you're lost. And you're like, nah, we're not lost. It's just yourself, though. Like, this other voice you're hearing is just started appearing, like, the last few hours because, you know, you've been gone for so long. You've been lost for so long. You're starting to go a little insane, so this voice keeps telling you, hey, man, we're lost. We gotta do something about this. And you're like, we're not lost. We're just having a lovely stroll through the forest, and I love going through the forest. I definitely didn't try to take a shortcut through a park or anything like that. I'm definitely not lost or anything, and then, you know, you're just still in denial about it, but ultimately you will die of starvation out here because, again, you keep denying that you're lost, so you're not taking basic needs and necessities such as food and water and things like that. So eventually you will die of either starvation or thirst. So dude, you gotta admit that you're lost already and just do something about it. Listen to that voice in your head. You're lost. That was the last one. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was a little bit different than some of the stuff that I've done before. But yeah, this is fun. I like assuming things about characters and stuff like that. Let me know in the comments below if I should do this again. I'm sorry if I didn't get to your OC in this video. I know a lot of people sent stuff in the announcement replies for their characters and stuff like that. And I tried to get just a handful of these characters and stuff like that. Before I knew it, I had like 15, and I was like, okay, this is probably enough, because even if it took me like a minute to do each person. This is going to be 15 minutes. So hopefully this video isn't too long. But yeah, let me know in the comments below if I should do this again. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please do consider liking, subscribing, sharing, and doing all of those wonderful things like that. Because when you do wonderful things like that, not only do you get access to wonderful content such as this, but you also get to become wonderful yourself. And I think we all want that. So do those wonderful things, and until next time, stay wonderful.